Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Yeah, you might have seen, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I bought a short shifter for the Micra. It's actually meant for Nissan Pulsar GTI-R. I think it also fits a couple of other things. I can't quite remember. I'll stick a link to the shifter that I'm using in the description below. Yeah, basically I've bought a GTI-R shifter to go on the car, and I've got a new gear knob to go with it. So I'll flip it around and show you what I've got. So this is the shifter. It basically that's what the shifter looks like, and then you've got this little collar that goes around it, and oh yeah, just a box of, well, a bag of washers and bolts and stuff. I'm not entirely sure how it all goes together yet. I'm yet to figure that out. I've never changed a shifter in a Micra before, but I can't imagine it's that hard. Basically, from the looks of it, it looks like you've got to take these two nuts off, and then I think there's two nuts underneath the car as well. And then this cover should come off, so I'm going to pop that off first and then have a look and see how it all comes apart, and then we'll go from there. And then the gear knob is, I bought this like long carbon fiber gear knob. That's what the plastic adapter is on the bottom of there. It's for the gear knob. So yeah, I'm just gonna whip these two nuts off and then go underneath and take those off and get this cover off, and we'll have a look at should be able to have a better view of how it's all held together once I've got that off. Underneath the car where the shifter comes through, I think by the looks of it, it's these nuts here. This it's a 12mm nut, and there's one on the other side of the bush as well. I think once they come off and those two nuts inside, that whole cover should come off. But by the looks of it, when I undo those nuts, all this whole shifter is going to drop down. So I think what I'm gonna do first is take this linkage off. So I'm gonna undo that bolt, which looks like a 12 or a 14. I'm not sure. I think it's a 14 actually. Undo that. That actually bolts through the bottom of the shifter. So I'll move that out and then take these off, and then all the linkages and everything should just fall away from the shifter, and the shifter should just be bolted into the car somehow. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this linkage off first and then take these two nuts off, and it should just all pretty much come away from the actual shifter itself. So once you've undone the linkage on the bottom of the gear, on the bottom of the shifter, and then undone those two bolts at the back, which is those two there, and then obviously the two nuts holding it from the top as well, at the front, that just slides straight off. And then basically you've got an open shifter here. It's all hanging loose now, but these two circles here, that's they're captive nuts. So there's two bolts basically going from underneath and that hold the shifter to this metal linkage. So I'm going to undo those from underneath now. I think they're a 12mm bolt again, and then that should come out, and then we've basically just got to swap the shifter into this bushing. So I'll undo those now, and then pull the shifter out of there, and we'll get a better look at it. So finally got the bolts out from underneath. They were really corroded, so I'd really advise, if you're going to do it, is get a 6-sided socket. They were 10mm heads as well, not 12. So yeah, get a 6-sided 10mm socket, and one of those like the wobbly socket adapters, so that you can get slight bend in it, because basically the exhaust runs right underneath, so you can't quite get into it straight up. But yeah, that's out now. It should come through there. There we go. Just need a bit of twisting to get it out. I've learned from my mistakes on doing the Corsa coilovers not to read everything on the internet, so I haven't read anything on here on how to do this this swap. I know it has been done before, but I'm just trying to figure it out on my own. And basically what I've figured out is, with the old shifter, there's a little metal bush in there, and basically you want to get a punch and a hammer and push it out. I've started knocking it out already, so it should just pull out, and then you've got that there. Basically they give you some copper dowels in the kit, but they're not the right size because yeah, the Pulsar pin that goes through the middle must be bigger, so you need this one just to make up for the smaller bolt that goes through the Nissan one. You don't need any of this plastic stuff, I don't think. Yeah, no, you don't need those. You don't need those plastic ones bits. They give you some washers in the kit to go either side of the shifter. So I'm gonna go press this into the new shifter now, and then we'll have a look and see what else needs to be done. Basically, so what you want to do, this is the pin out of the original Micra shifter. As you can see, that's the copper one that comes in the kit, and that's the one out of the Micra shifter, so the bolt would just wobble around in that if you put it in, so don't use that. And stick that in. As you can see, it's actually wider than the shifter, because the Micra, the original Micra shifter is a bit wider, and that actually fills it from end to end in the Micra. So what you want to do is use these washers that they've given, and basically you want to put 2 of those each side, and that'll stop the once it's bolted up in the with the linkage on it, that won't be able to move anywhere, and the pin won't be able to slide from side to side, because it'll all be bolted up within the shifter. So that's how it wants to go. There's no point in putting that together yet. You may as well get the shifter bolted in before you and then put that all together when you put the linkage back on. So I'm going to leave all that out for now, just so I don't lose anything while I'm messing about. And then, so this you don't need anything else off the other shifter other than that, the pin, the little dowel from inside. So that basically is going to just drop through like that, and then this collar just drops over the top and it bolts up in the original place. The only issue that I can see is these are 8mm holes, and in here they are 6mm holes. So what I'm going to do is go grab the drill. I'm going to drill these out to like 8.5. Yeah, both these holes out to 8.5, because they give you these new Allen key bolts, and then that bolt will fit through that hole then and bolts straight up to here. The holes are in exactly the same place, so you literally just need to widen that hole to an 8.5, which shouldn't take too much because it's already at 6. So I'm going to just stick an 8.5 drill through that now, and then we'll bolt the shifter down into that. So I've drilled them out to 8.5. So the what is that? New bolts should slide straight through there like that. They don't come with washers, these, but I'm gonna stick some washers on with them. Yeah, basically that's ready to go now. So the new shifter will drop straight in there and bolt up from underneath. So I'm gonna just go underneath now and bolt it all back together. Right, once you're all bolted up, should look like that. What we want to do now is this shifter obviously wants bolting up at the back, so we need to stick this back on, so that those studs go through the back, and then that like that, and stick these nuts back on. Just to stop it from coming off when while we're messing around with it. There we go, and then that'll come up like that. So I'm just going to go and bolt the back up with the nuts now. It does actually come with 2 new nuts as well, so you can fit those if you want. And yeah, I'll bolt it back up now, and then we'll see how it sits in here, and then we'll bolt all the linkages back on. So once you've got that on, this rubber boot actually fits properly. What you want to do is just push it down around the outside and it'll clip into place, because the Pulsar shifter is obviously very similar and it probably has the same rubber boot, so it actually clips up around there, so you're not going to get any wind noise or anything through the bottom. So that's quite a nice little addition, because I've fit shifters before that aren't meant for the car in like previous stuff like my 3G Civic, and then I've always ended up with like wind noise and stuff because the seals and stuff don't fit properly. So you shouldn't get any wind noise through the bottom of there. Be nice and quiet. So that now that that's all back together, what you want to do is make sure your swan neck is basically facing backwards, not that way, because that's the wrong way. Yeah, it wants to be going back like that. So the bend, it bends backwards basically. So I'm going to go underneath now, and like I mentioned before, pin through the bottom, and then yeah, pin through the bottom, then 2 washers each side, and then not bolt through it. I'll bolt it all together and then show you how I've done it. Right, we're all bolted back in. So they're your Allen key bolts that hold your shifter to your linkage. They're all tightened up, and then on here I've only used 3 of those brass washers in the end. So you've got the original pin that goes through the middle of here, and then I've got 2 brass washers on this side and 1 on this side. Basically, the reason I've done that is because 4 wouldn't fit in, and 3 is enough to take all the slack out of the linkage. So yeah, 2 on that side, 1 on that side, and then the bolt just through the middle. And then that's it all back together. There is a spring as well that goes from here to here that I've not put back on yet. I'm just going to go and do that now. It's just like a little spring that goes for it. It can go either way around, so yeah, it just goes on there to there. It still works without it. It's just, I think it's just so to give it a bit of return basically. So yeah, I'll stick it all back together and then we'll get the gear knob on it and we'll give it a test. That's the spring back on. That's how it goes. It just clips up on the bottom of here, goes to there, and that basically just, when you stick it in neutral, keeps it in the center. So yeah, that's all that does. So I'll finish sticking it back together and we'll show you how it works. So we're all back together. Gear knob's knackered, the thread adapter's broke. It's the thread on where it cuts itself to the actual gear stick is fine. It's the outer thread that attaches the thread to the actual gear knob that's knackered. So what I'm going to do is just going to get some super glue and just super glue the thread in properly. It's a problem with plastic, it's just a bit cheap and shit. I actually thought that they came with metal thread adapter when I bought it, so it's a bit of an annoyance that. But anyway, I'll stick a link to the gear knob and the shifter in the description, and yeah, it's definitely reduced the throw. Like, that's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and reverse there. I've always had a bit of trouble going from second to third, and that seems to have sorted that out. If you've ever driven a standard Micra, the throw's like miles, and it's a bit vague, especially going like into third. Every Micra that I've had going into third has been a bit like, sometimes you'll hit this weird spot between like third and first that doesn't do anything. It kind of feels like a gear but doesn't quite go in. I don't know why they're like that, but every Micra I've had's done that. So but this seems to have sorted it out. It seems dead easy to find gears now. So yeah, that's it sorted. I'm just going to go and sort this out now and glue it back on, and then go and take some pictures of my knob and post them on Instagram. So yeah, if you've not already subscribed to this channel, make sure you do for more Micra updates. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I post a lot of like of my Micra stuff on there. It's LeadFoot_Ash. I'll stick that in the description as well, just in case. And peace out. I'll catch you in the next video.